Coming to you in recorded video fashion from the Nut and Fancy headquarters in Wyoming, from my missile silo, a concrete bunker. We are now going to discuss, review, Nut and Fancy style, the Ruger SR762 Sapper. Thanks for clicking on the video, dude. I appreciate it. For longtime TMPers, thanks for sticking around all these years. It is humbling to me. I've always said that. Really appreciate it. Special thank you to TMP Patreon members. They're over there supporting the project. It sure ain't YouTube monetization. Insert standard discussion on that. Now, we're going to discuss SR762. Sorry it's taken me so long. The gun came out in 2015. Honestly, I was not super stoked to put it high on the list to review. I have been making progress in my playlist, at least here on YouTube, of 308 battle rifles. That is a broad term. It's going to include the AR-10s, piston-driven ARs, 308 chambered ARs like this. This really isn't an AR-10, but I'm going to refer to it that because it's quicker shorthand for the review. I have been making progress. I'm really happy / gratified that there's some content in there to answer TMPers questions about these style of rifles, and all I'm going to do is give you my data on them, my opinion. My gun reviews for years have concentrated on a little bit on POU. If there's something remarkable to discuss there, I will. Usually it's standard. Then we go into features, how did it shoot, and then would I buy it? And so if you go through those videos, you'll get a lot of information. Again, just my data. Not that I'm always right, but I always try to impart the truth as I see it. I'm beholden to nobody. Nobody owns TMP, not TPA either. This is not third-party advertising, of which there is a ton everywhere online, not just YouTube. I've discussed that too. Now, lately I've seen a ton of requests for me to get to this tabletop. Nut and Fancy, when are you going to review the SR762? Here's my fear when I see guys clamoring for it, and I think when I say this, you know it's going to ring true, is that when they say, hey, Nut and Fancy, review this gun, they've already bought it. That's right. If I see a lot of requests, they're not waiting for my review. They've already purchased the gun, and what they're hoping is a vindication review for their decision. Last week or the week before, and he wanted the review, I told him, hey, it's coming. I think he really likes his SR762. With much respect, with much humility, I still do the review the way I do a review. So I don't do anything gratuitously. I don't say, oh man, my followers, they love this gun, so I'm going to do a positive review. I just don't do that. I'm going to just tell you my data, tell you my viewpoint. And if you have the gun and you love it, and let's say in this case, I'm not super stoked on it, keep the gun, dude. Don't sell it. There's a lot of good reviews on this gun out there. I'm just throwing in my voice, my data point. It is what it is. But there's a lot of solid reviewers out there. There have been for many years, both in written form, online. And here comes my data point right here. Is philosophy of use any different than other sappers, semi-automatic precision rifles? That's what I call 308 chambered battle rifles of the AR variety. Not just AR variety, the FN falls into that category as well. Oh, there is one interesting aspect to this gun which will fall under POU, and that is some guys really trust Ruger, and they're not so trusting of other brands. And so when Ruger comes out with a particular style of rifle, in this case an AR-10, that's what they pull the trigger on. Pun intended. That's what they pull the trigger on. So they're like, oh, Ruger came out with one. It's got to be awesome. That's what I'm buying. Now, what do they do with it? Standard philosophy of use discussion here. Probably recreational, maybe hunting, probably not that. Maybe competition, probably not that. Probably a WROL rifle, very high probability of that. Might be a team member belonging to a police department. Maybe they're going to use it as a sapper. There are some of those guys. We do have team guys watching TMP. Love you guys. I met you personally. Thank you for your service. I love them. They're constitutionally minded law enforcement. Ton of those guys in TMP. And then, what do I always say too? Pirate rifle. And the FN I was talking about before was the FNAR. I call that the pirate rifle because it was so freaking accurate and fun to shoot, soft shooting. I think that would be a great gun. And a lot of these guns to arm your high seas sailing vessel with, or maybe, I don't know, oil tanker with, in case you're, you know, attacked by pirates. Arg, matey. Kind of like that. And insert the other standard POU here. I've always said I prefer a 308 chambered AR over a 5.56 version if SAWC will allow it. I stick with that year by year. I really do. I like 7.6251. It has obstacle penetration. It makes my ballistic computation a little bit easier. I generally won't shoot them past 700 yards. That's just my range for those reasons. Definitely. Now, before we go into features and models, I guess, of the SR762, there is some cool stuff on the table. Really cool stuff. We've got an XL Cold Steel Recon. I think that steel with that is AUS 8A. They are making it now in CTS XHP. It's wearing my edge after I bent it in batoning back in 2013. And I think that date is inscribed on the blade. I love this one. This is super cool. Never getting rid of it. It's super strong triad lock too. We got a PP threaded barrel version, and that is the classic one with the side magazine release, which I've always liked. I have no problems with that at all. I've got some of my old Air Force stuff here. So this is a capture card in Arabic. So if we're captured, shot down, it says, hey, you know, you'll be given a reward if you get me back to the United States government. My old squadron patch, 97th ARS. Hey dudes, what's up? In Fairchild Air Force Base, and I have a provisional squadron when I was over in Saudi Arabia. I did multiple tours in the desert, Air Force pilot, 21 years, blah, blah, blah. You know all that. TMP patches is nothing fancy, big cartel. I still think we have some. I have been trying to push Doodle to get a new order in, but he's super busy with his career. We'll see what happens. We're not all about merch here in TMP. We're not. We got lives. We just don't do this. We do a lot of other things. We do fit this stuff in whenever we can. Yes, it's a ton of work. And then I got a dead air can right here, which incidentally I did not put on this gun, if memory serves. I don't think I did that. Before we cruise to, I'm going to thank Gunny's, the Great American Gun Store. Finally made this super cool sign. Thank them. They are in Orem, Utah. Wyatt and company have been helping me with this gun review show for years, giving me special stuff for loan. Like this right here. I check it out, loan it. There's no money exchanging hands. He doesn't pay me. I don't pay him unless I buy the gun. But I get no free guns. I buy them all if I keep them. And for instance, this is a loaner. This is a Wyndham Weaponry. Wyndham Weaponry AR-10. I haven't shot it yet. It's not even scoped. But it's on the table to let you guys know that it's in the project for testing. Fingers crossed. I hope it does very, very well. I want all guns to do well. I want them all to do great, man. I do. SR762 included. Thanks again to Gunnies. And Federal Ammunition. They helped with some boxes. I bought the rest. I mean, like this. This is XM80. I bought this in 2011. I marked the date just so I can keep track of what lot is lot. Okay, enough of that. Features. Incidentally, you guys know this. I actually kind of kicked off the Nut and Fancy project with a piston-driven AR-15, and it was, you know it, the Ruger SR556. And I gave it a very positive review. Yes, there were some quirks. Every gun's got some quirks. Every gun is not perfect. Go check that out. It still plays. I do think the SR556 has completely tanked for sales. I mean, talking to Gunnies and some other gun stores I've gone in, I've asked the question, and they go, yeah, we don't sell too many of them, and it's been that way a long time. But when it came out, it was super popular. What has changed over the last decade? A lot. There are a lot of great high-value black guns out there. In 308 chambering, of course. I've reviewed several of them. They're in the playlist. Go check it out again. For sure. So there's a lot of options. I think Ruger wisely, went to the punch quick on a piston-driven AR-15, which at the time was very hyped. Go watch my philosophy video. It's piston versus DI, the dilemma, something like that. And all that still plays. I was always defending a DI gun. I was one of the few voices doing that. I caught heat for it in the day. I didn't care because truth is truth. It's like DIs work. They've worked in combat forever. But for whatever reason, Ruger, you know, adjusting to customer demand, goes with a piston gun. And now they have a 308 version. Again, it's been out since about 2015. Models of it. This is the alarming part about it. Because if I go to some other pages of manufacturers of a certain type of gun, if it's been out for 3 or so years and it's been successful, I'll see different variations of that gun. Last night I went to the website in Ruger, SR762. I see one version of it. One. That's a little bit alarming to me, because I would think if it was very successful, selling well, you might have an LR version. You might have like a tan version, something with a different handguard on it. Just, you know, changing up the furniture, changing up the looks. And some guys eat that up. But unless I missed something, I've been known to do that before. I think there's just one variation. So you're going to get just over a 16-inch barrel. We're starting with features now. It's cold hammer forged. And you can see the writing right here on it. Chrome lined. Topped off with a goofy Mini 14 flash hider. Yeah, I know. I used to kind of like it, the flash hider. Now, I don't really, especially for this gun. I think it's inappropriate. What do you mean by that? Well, and the same could be said for this one too. The Wyndham weaponry. I almost did Elmer Fudd again. Wyndham weaponry. The A2, because it's a 308. I want some level of compensation when I'm shooting a 308. And I've reviewed a bunch of other guns like the POF Revolution. That muzzle brake they put on that is very effective. It does mitigate recoil, and yes, it's very loud if you're to the side of the gun. Better yet, you put a can on it. I get all that. But I don't like the looks of this, and I don't think it plays well on a 308 chambered AR-10. Okay, that's my mini rant. And I'll say the same thing about the Wyndham weaponry. What I will say, it's easy enough to take it off and put on a compensator you like. Still, one of my all-time faves is the Battle Comp. If you're just looking for compensation and not flash suppression, the Battle Comp is fantastic. Albeit in this caliber, extraordinarily expensive. It's like 175 bucks. You got it. And that's like FFL cost, I think. It's crazy. I haven't checked in with that price in a long time. But barrel, just over 16 inches. Do I wish it was an 18? Yeah, I totally do. In fact, it kind of perturbs me that this thing weighs what it does with a 16-inch barrel, and it is a criticism of mine. So, what was the weight? I had it written down. I think it's like 8 pounds, 10 ounces naked without a magazine. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it in annotation right now. It should be lighter than that, especially with fluting under the handguard. You might be able to see that. It's lightly fluted, and a thick barrel. I don't mind a thick barrel for heat stability, maybe a little bit more accuracy. I've always said that. But I like 18-inch barreled AR-10s. That's why I've always recommended and still to this day in my own system, use Smith & Wesson M&P 10s. It's a direct gas impingement gun. It's a true AR-10. Granted, it has some proprietary things going on it. But it has a great gas system on it, and it's an 18-inch barrel. So I'm going to get about 70 feet per second more per inch of barrel, depending on the load you're shooting. This is 16. It doesn't mean, by the way, I won't review an AR-10 with a 16-inch barrel negatively. There have been several that have come to this table that I've loved, and the Bushmaster ORC, Optics Ready Carbine, or whatever they're calling it now, I believe was one of them. It was a really good gun. I gave it a positive review. I dinged a little bit for barrel length. Okay, so that's the barrel. Chrome lined again. Here's your 4-position gas system, and it's just like the SR556. And note to some other manufacturers, this is how you do a gas system. It's very simple. It's clearly marked. If this were my gun, I would fill these numbers in with white paint. So you see a number 3 here. We have it set on number 2. There's a number 1 over here, and then you have an offsetting. It's pretty idiot-proof, and that's what you need on any gun. You need it to be idiot-proof and soldier-proof. One of the things I said on the POF Revolution review is, and that's a great gun, I think the Gen 2 will be even better. It does have some quirks. They need to simplify the gas system like this. This is a well-made gas system. It works. It's positive. It's super easy to adjust. There's really no question where you're at, what you're doing. You don't have to reverse it. Enough said. So here's your gas system right here. It's a 2-stage piston, and Ruger on their website will talk about how this is supposed to make it have less felt recoil. And you can read about their design on the piston there. This is where it's going to get dirty, by the way. All the dirt and grime, carbon builds up here. This part stays pretty clean. I've always said that, and I remember back during the DI versus piston debate, which has seemed like it's subsided a lot. A lot of guys know that DI is awesome, but back in the day, it's like, oh my gosh, you got to have a clean bolt. If it's back there, it's going to fail on you. I'm like, no, it's not. Militaries have shot it forever, and it hasn't failed. It'll get dirty, especially if you run a suppressor on it. I'll give you that, but it won't fail if it's a quality construction. And meanwhile, all this is going to be dirty. So it goes somewhere. It's going to go here, just like it did on SR556. I discussed that in that tabletop. So that's a gas system. Then we have something that, I got to be honest with you, and I forgot what I said in the SR556 review. It kind of annoys me, and that is we have a pinned handguard. So we have an M1913 rail, semi-monolithic on the top because it's pinned. It's proprietary, and it's not meant to be taken off. That annoys me because, well, it's proprietary, and there's other guns that are proprietary, like the 716. That's totally proprietary. The MR762 by H&K, proprietary. I gotcha. Any piston AR-10 is going to have a proprietary rail. But what would have been really cool is if we could fit a standard handguard on this style of AR-10, piston driven. I know I'm reaching for the stars, guys, but it's out-of-box thinking. I'm kind of known for that. I want new design. I want new technology. And again, go look at the POF review. They did some of that with that gun. Out-of-box thinking. So they're attempting to make an AR-15 weighing AR-10. And in a lot of ways, they succeeded. Meanwhile, this thing is 8 pounds, 10 ounces. And we have a pinned handguard that we can never take off. And this is kind of a second cool criticism, and maybe I've changed since 2009. I don't like the looks of it. I don't. It just looks like a piece of extruded aluminum. I don't think there's enough ventilation holes in it. Look at the Wyndham weaponry. Look at that one. Look at all the holes this has. I mean, that is ventilation, dudes. And here it's very enclosed, at least on the side. And they'll include 2 rail sections that you have to bolt on. Another criticism, it's a proprietary attachment system. I think it could be milled out for both cooling and weight. You know, width-wise, they do a pretty good job on the SR762. They do. Good attachment system. It didn't rotate on us. I didn't note it. But again, it's pinned. Hope you like it because it's staying there. And then we get to the receiver. I think this has Cerro forge marks on it. Yeah, on the upper. I do like that it's a forged upper. See the Cerro forge right here? There it is right there. Cerro forge. So both a forged upper and lower, not billet. I do like that. I've said that ever since the DPMS reviews many years ago. I like forged. I'll stick with that. It looks like the WW is also using the forging. Well done. Now the trigger has been upgraded since it has been introduced on the SR762. The trigger, I won't pull it, but I think it's a 4.5 pound trigger. And what do they call this thing? It always has a marketing term, right? It is the Elite 452 trigger with a hammer that is lightweight, that improves lock time. These are Ruger's claims, by 30%. You will see on my targets, however, I talk about how good the trigger is, so I will confirm it is well done. The original triggers that came out in the SRs weren't that great. There were a lot of complaints. Ruger heard, responded, put a good trigger in. I would not replace it. The controls are standard AR-15, standard AR-10, not ambidextrous, no new ground being broken right here. We have an MOE pistol grip on it. I love those, some of my all-time favorites. We have a standard sized charging handle, which annoys me. This gun retails for what, $23.50? I wrote it down. The retail price, yeah, $23.50, and we have a standard charging handle on it. Kind of a letdown. Again, go to the POF products and you'll see how they upgrade it with their Tomahawk charging handle, which is always going to be a player on a sapper because what? Yeah, we're running a scope. Now, I don't have it on this loaner gun, but I think still the Ruger SR762 comes with BUIS, which is a big thumbs up. I see a lot of manufacturers not doing that. They're chinsing out. They're saving money. And I still like to have it. Yeah, I run a lot of guns without it, but it's kind of nice to have. I mean, if you want to run BUIS, maybe you're going to do a drill with irons, be nice to have. Note there is no enlarged trigger guard here, a little bit tight for gloves. Storage compartment in the MOE, as before, we've always seen that. No sling plate here, but dang, you wouldn't want to carry this single point anyhow. And then we have a Magpul SL buttstock. I do like it. It's pretty good. 6 position, mil-spec buffer tube, and that's the features on this gun. I think that's called the SL. Let me make sure I'm telling you guys right. These are always changing. Yeah, MOE SL is this buttstock. Incidentally, I have a LaRue mount on this. I have a 1-inch Burris. This is just a review scope. I've had it in the project forever. It works great. It's a, I think a 5-20. Yeah, 5-20. Something like that. And we used it in Operation Red Skies, actually. It was on M1A. It's served on a bunch of different guns. That's a good mount, albeit I think it's very expensive. I'm using Aero Precision. See my link below. Incidentally, the watch for the review is a beautiful Aviator branded chronograph. Classic watch. You wouldn't believe the price on this. It's so affordable. So this is a Russian-based company, I think, Aviator. And they use Miyota Quartz Movements. This is a chronograph again. Stainless steel mesh band. Kind of at odds with the Black Rifle review, don't you think? It's like, shiny watch, Black Rifles? What's that about, dude? I don't know. Now let's talk about how it's shot. The dynamics. Remember I was talking about the 2-stage gas system up here, how it's supposed to mitigate felt recoil? Yeah, I didn't notice that. Not really. It had a medium level of push. Granted, we still have a Mini 14 flash hider on this thing. It's not a Mini 14, it's a larger caliber. I'm just kidding with you. But it's the same style. It does nothing for compensation, like I mentioned. I think if you put like a battle comp on there, it would be a different rifle. But I didn't think it was any softer shooting than any of the other AR-10s that I've shot. I talked to the guys, the crew that were shooting it too, and they agreed. They're like, yeah, it has some push. Not major, but there is some push there. Reliability-wise, we did have some problems with steel casings out there, but we tweaked the gas system. I think we ended up on position 2 and the problems went away. After that, it shot them well, which is remarkable because one of my criticisms against the piston guns in the day was that they would not run steel casings. I did not see that to be the case now. It seems like it ran good. I didn't shoot a ton of it through it, just a little bit. Mostly it was brass, so we ran through it. Again, a lot of the Federal stuff. There you go. Mostly reliable. I mean, I would give the reliability rating of the SR762 high marks. If, again, I find something in post-production when I review all the outings, the video of the outings, I'll show you. I'll annotate it. But I think it's a very reliable AR-10. Again, I know it's not an AR-10. How accurate was it, Nothing Fancy? Okay, that's a good question. And maybe you are sensing I'm not super excited about it. If so, you are very perceptive, and this is why. I'm not going to say it is inaccurate. It's not. But this is 168 grain Privy Partisan was a brand on that. Match ammo. That should shoot a little bit better than that. Here's the same stuff. I gave it an up arrow good group, but we did have a flyer. That's the kind of group that would really excite me. So that is a sub-MOA group. I'm shooting off a polymer table in operational conditions in the hot and usually windy desert. That's a great group, and it does show that this gun is capable of accuracy, although you might have to cherry pick your loads. You might have to. This Federal 150 grain soft point stuff is like freaking match ammo, dudes. I've been buying it for years, and when I get some boxes of ammunition from Federal via Gunnies, this is the stuff I really like to shoot because it's super accurate, it's expanding ammunition, and you wouldn't know by looking at this stuff that it's accurate because it looks really humdrum, doesn't it? It's a standard 150 grain soft point hunting round. It's not super ballistically efficient, but dang, does it shoot well out of a bunch of guns. I mean, it's almost like a match load. I don't know what's up. Maybe it's just the loads I've been getting, or I'm sorry, the lots I've been getting. PMC shot miserably, and this is a 168 match grain load. There's Wolf Steel, and Wolf is no longer, they don't even import it anymore. It's just shooting out of stash, 150 SP. Like I said, I took it on a bunch of outings. I really wanted to give this gun every chance to perform and see what it could do. Now we shoot this load, XM80C. I will say it's not the most accurate load. In fact, the latest lots of it, it's okay. It's a good ball ammunition, but dang, that's horrible. Look at that group. This is bad. This is Wolf, bad. Horrible group. That's PMC, ball, down arrow, exclamation point. I said embarrassing for the gun. It is. And I said these are all good pulls. So I don't fault myself. There's no human factors going on here. I felt good about the stability. Maybe we should call this a SASPR, not a sapper. Semi-automatic, semi-precision rifle, a SASPR. Okay, what I said, no can, so I don't have a suppressor, no wind, all good pulls, good trigger, good stock. Oh, I did like the stock on it. Gold medal match, should be shooting better. Federal gold medal match, not great. Atomic 168, this is a test load for me. That if the gun doesn't shoot this ammunition well, assuming no human factors, I'm kind of like, okay. And that's where I'm at with this gun. There, that's where I'm at with this gun. Freedom Munitions, 168 grain match. That doesn't shoot good out of any gun. I don't know what's up with FM ammo, but it's kind of all over the place. Atomic, Remington Soft Point, awful. Not sure which one that was. Cellar and Bellet, awful. Dang, what happened? We started off with a pretty good target. We had two great groups, XM80, XM80, Herder Soft Point, Herder Soft Point. There we go, Atomic 168 grain match. I did get an acceptable group. It's about 1.5 MOA. But dang, what's going on with Federal 168 grain match, dude? Gold medal match. And then I shot some of this. So this is Federal 168 grain open tip match. So this is great stuff. This should shoot one MOA, 1 inch at 100 yards, more or less, out of a good gun. Federal 150 grain soft point. All done with accuracy. I would therefore say accuracy is fair to good. Fair to good. Maybe your SR762 does better. But I took it out on multiple outings. I spent a lot of time with it trying to get it to group accurately. If it was consistently 1 MOA, I would deal with a handguard. I would. I'd just like, whatever. I'll deal with it. It's a 1 MOA shooter. It's a great sapper gun. Not the lightest. It's heavier than an M&P 10. It's heavier than a lot of other competitive offerings. Not by a lot, but by some. And I'm a big guy in SAWC. You guys know this. For instance, that Bushmaster ORC is 8 pounds 2 ounces. The M&P 10 is 8 pounds 3 ounces. The Gen 2 LR308, I don't have a weight written down for that, but it's about the same weight as this, maybe a little bit lighter. FN17S is 8 pounds even. The 6716 and MR762, by the way, these are all competitive options, are much heavier. Yeah, and I dinged them for that in the reviews. If you don't believe me, go look at it. So is the FNAR, that's heavier. The DD V51 is 8.5 pounds. It also had a 16-inch barrel. It's even more than this, 3,000 retail, and it jammed with steel rounds. I could not get it to cycle steel rounds at all. At all. The Colt 901, do you even make that anymore? I'm not sure. Remember the Diamondback DB10? I just reviewed that last year. That shot really well. It was lighter than this. It kind of had a value build on it, so a value handguard, value, front end on it, furniture, but all that could be peeled off. The heart of the DB10 is very solid, and I think I tested it in 6.5 Creed. Would I buy it? Well, here's the deal on this gun, guys. If I ever bring an AR-10, again, I'm broad stroking the term AR-10 style of rifle to the table, and I feel like I'm going to replace my Smith & Wesson M&P 10s, your ears should probably perk up. To this date, after all the guns I've reviewed, and they are numerous at this point, I haven't found one that I'm going to replace my M&P 10s with. Now, I'm not in the pocket of Smith & Wesson. They don't know me. They don't care about me. They didn't comp me anything. I buy everything. This is just a fresh non-TPA data point. That is what I build my system around. They're relatively light, 18-inch barrel. It's got a mid-length or so gas system on it. They're really accurate, 5-hour rifling. This does not meet that standard for me. Now again, maybe you're getting like consistent 1.5-inch groups out of it. American Rifleman said that they were. I read their review, the NRA gun review publication, actually the part of the American Rifle magazine, and they were getting about 1.5 inches with their Ruger SR762s, and I think they shot more than one. I was not able to replicate that, and I showed you the data. Reliability-wise, I think it's pretty squared away. SAWC-wise, I think it's fat. I think it's too heavy. I wouldn't want to carry it around. I said the same thing about any gun that weighs that much. But as a team rifle, sure. But we're looking at a SASPR, not a sapper, right? A SASPR, semi-automatic, semi-precision rifle. Is that accuracy enough for most applications? I don't know, dudes. I really don't. You'd have to be the determiner on that. And by the way, it just dawned on me, I forgot to open up this gun and show you the BCG, which is matte chrome plated. I do like that. Is it accurate enough for you? Jeez, I don't know. For me, an inaccurate rifle is a no-go. It just is. I'm not interested because there's so many awesome accurate rifles out there. Why even bother? And by the way, we used a wide variety of magazines. These are Brownells 20s. This is a DPMS steel. This is a Magpul PMag 20, a wide variety. I don't really go out of my way. They're just kind of all in the loadout, and I just grab them and shuck them through. I didn't notice any magazine problems. Just standard SR25 style of mag, of course. Standard charging handle, and here's the matte chrome plated bolt carrier group. I like it when they do this. In fact, some of the ones that I've put in my own guns, like Rock Rivers, are just like this. I really like matte chrome. It works great. So we just have an integral key here. I didn't notice any carrier tilt. We have a very perfectly sized diameter at the rear of the bolt carrier group. And then if you look right here in the SR762, there's a built-up area right there that will prevent any carrier tilt. So well done, Ruger. I mean, it's well designed. And there's your trigger right there. Again, I wouldn't replace a trigger. Quick look in there, and we'll just leave it like that. Say in the review. So no, I'm sorry, I wouldn't buy it. Again, if you have one and you love it, don't sell it. What I would look primarily at, if you're looking at as a defensive rifle, you know, all heck breaks loose type of rifle, and you want a heavy hitter in the inventory, is it reliable with the ammunition you have? If the answer is yes, if you can shoot like a 1.5-inch group, maybe a 2-inch group at 100 yards consistently, it will be fine for you. Don't sell it. Nothing fancy review, complete. See ya. Top of the barricade. Your choice of targets. Nice shooting, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, it is. It's hitting nicely. I like it.
How's that trigger?
It's good. I like it.
How's the recoil impulse?
Not bad, man. For a 308.
This is really a flash hider, though. It doesn't do anything to compensate.
I mean, it's definitely more punchy than the other one, the suppressed. You know, but yeah, I mean, it's when you're standing, it takes a while to reacquire. You know, once you get it supported and you're holding it on there, it's a lot quicker.
Cool.
Much better. But yeah, I mean, it was shooting good, hitting steel.
Cool.
And, not bad. I like it.